Back home.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning.
We figured out a way to work it, right?
It's still.
It's fair because they want alternate running and riding by mountain.
You did all that?
Yeah, but I had thought I had it worked out where I looked at the course and I had this in my mind where I was going to ride a little bit. Anyway, it was really fun.
For us, we've got so many things going on. It's a real sort of structured, productive sort of. It's what you want.
I guess hours that I get worried about.
No one has turned on.
We're not going to worry about that tonight.
Anxious I was to get on the airplane.
Get away.
Because I don't know if you know or not, we actually got two something.
I feel bad.
1974.
So for the NASA delegation, Mark and Joel, they're moving to the library.
We were in business. You know, we don't have an opportunity to get over here very often, especially not as often as I would like to. And I'm still hoping to come back to see a little bit more of Russia the next time we get up to St. Petersburg. But you have been an incredible friend for NASA from the first time that I met you on my trip here for my first launch out of Baikonur. And I was really impressed with your passion for space and space exploration and everything. And so as a small token, well, in fact, I'm going to let Bob Cabana really explain this. It's a model of the shuttle that was actually made out of tile.
It's fabricated in our tile shop down at Kennedy Space Center. So it's the silica tile with the heat coating on it that an actual shuttle tile is made from.
Thank you very much. You couldn't have given me anything that means more to me.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks very much. Thanks.
Bob, can you come in here
Thanks
for a
to all
moment?
of you.
All right. Should we dance or do something for the video?
It was on the Mir Space Station.
So we have a lot of joint Russian-U.S. experience.
Three of us got to fly with Russians in space.
Do we? Is there anybody else here besides Sergei from 60?
No, sir. His backup, Vladimir Titov. Well, Vladimir is still here.
Who flew on the second?
He flew on the STS-63 about a year later.
Yeah.
And but he's back and forth. He used to be with Boeing, but I understand he's not with them.
But he's not. Is he coming tonight? Tito?
He can't come tonight. I think he's out of the country.
Okay. Gotta have a reunion.
That's right.
Tito was the one that rode the only abort they had, I think.
Yep.
Exactly. His first flight lasted seconds.
Really?
Bang,
They had a fire.
Was he the second one after Gagarin?
Yes,
To
the
go up
first one to
Tito?
spend the day.
Ah, okay. How many orbits do you remember? A day would be.
Well, a day would be 16 orbits.
16 orbits. Yeah.
I think it was 26, 28 hours, something like that.
But he ended up, after having the shortest flight in history,
Yeah.
ended up at one time, he was the co-world record holder. I think it was 366 days on orbit before that was eclipsed by the one that went about the length of time that they think it would take to go to Mars.
Oh, you're talking about
Titov.
Yeah.
Titov. Vladimir.
Not
he was a
total time in space.
No, he spent 366 days.
Then there was a medical doctor.
And the doctor then flew 437, something like that. Long time. Long time.
But it'll take longer than that to get to Mars.
Well,
No?
it's 8 months up and
Really?
back. So.
Really? I guess it depends on how you're prepared.
And we're hoping that we can get there.
Yeah, it's probably a
little
Maybe
bit
cut it in half would be
There
good.
you go.
Well,
I'm amazed it's already the middle of April.
I was going to say,
Oh, isn't it the truth?
anybody who has grandkids, that's a very short period of time.
Yeah.
You know, I was telling somebody the other day, I remember how it seemed like years would go on.
Yeah.
And today, I mean, just the time just flies by because oldest granddaughter had her 11th birthday back on the 24th of this month, of last month. And we just grabbed her and said, quit.
Yeah.
Stop.
I remember my grandmother very well once. I commented on this, or she commented. And she said, don't you think that 1/70th of your life is smaller than 1/15th of your life? And I thought, well, there's the explanation right there.
Gentlemen, we have our Russian delegation, our Russian colleagues and join us.
Great. Welcome.
Sergey, how are you? Good to see you. You look great.
Little bad. Olga is already almost
How you doing?
We had this 30
How you doing? How you doing?
Thank you.
You're looking pretty healthy.
It's fine too.
Treating you well.
Not bad. Today, 50 years since Gagarin came back, and the Red Square, the parade on Red Square was 50 years ago today. Yeah, the 14th.
Yeah. It was a pretty quick flight.
It was a pretty short.
We had you're absolutely right. And as I said when I was down at Cape Canaveral, Kennedy Space Center, on Tuesday, we will understand how significant they are. Absolutely. Very good to see you. Congratulations on 50th anniversary. We were just saying 50th anniversary of Gagarin's landing.
Мы сегодня говорили, что приземление Моя жена Джеки передает нам
She said, please tell Mrs. Kermit Fuller and ask her.
Yeah, it's very cold.
Следующий раз.
Next time.
How are you doing? Fine, thank you. How are you? The work is not working too well.
Thank you very much for coming.
Спасибо большое.
As I get older.
Все время происходят некие изменения в плане перелетов. Сейчас я говорю, старею, мне уже тяжелее.
But the flight gave in.
I didn't do
This is a publication that was prepared by Roscosmos on the occasion of Gagarin's flight anniversary. Thank you very much. This is a wonderful gift. And these are the mock-ups of the rockets. The Soyuz, the rocket that carried Gagarin on his flight, and the modern Soyuz rocket, which is a legacy design. Thank you very much. This is wonderful.
Извините.
You're making it pretty good today.
Oh, this is fantastic.
I have a sister, and this is my daughter.
Yuri, how are you doing? I'm Charlie Bolden.
Very nice.
Very pleased to meet you. I was going to say, have you studied in the U.S.?
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet, yes.
Pleased to meet you. I like your Who want to do it?
Actually doing.
What are you doing? Wow, I thought you were still in school.
No, I'm not. Postgraduate at the Moscow State University.
Fantastic.
Yes, and also working for Moscow Kremlin.
Yes.
Related to international institutions.
Fantastic. Are you bringing any to the United States?
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
She says yes. Mom says yes.
If mom says yes,
Mom says yes.
we have
Fifth engine is
I'm Charlie Bolden.
Когда идет
Очень приятно. Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте.
Hello, congratulations. It was wonderful. They were playing and singing.
Not tonight. Tonight we have 450 guests, so there's no room. There's no room.
Это национальный праздник, День независимости, да?
This is something that is going on during national holidays. That is correct. And tonight we have about 400 guests, so there will be very little room.
Катюш. Катя. Чудесный театр.
Yes, it's a wonderful theater. Yes, it is one of the first theaters in the country.
You probably remember LA has a small token to the fans. I'd like to present it. And you know, it's actually the result, it's the legacy of your father's and I wish you
Thank you very much. It's very nice present. Very beautiful.
Наследие тому, что было начато в этой
Thank you very much. Thank you. What kind of exhibition we are going to organize? From time to time we are landing pictures from the family to the exhibition. So thank you very much.
I hope I get an opportunity to see one of the exhibitions. I will look, I will pay attention from now.
Hello. It is good to see you. It's almost as if we didn't part.
Whereas, on behalf of all of us at NASA, I'd like to really make this presentation to you in appreciation for all that you've done in trying to help us make sure that we stayed on the right track with our Russian-American relationships. And so
Здесь отражается история российско-американских отношений. Не все можно.
And I think you're familiar with these. The two flags were actually flown.
Ничего нового.
These are such warm events. This is great. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. I'm really glad you guys it's kind of magic. Nice.
Nope. Training. Actually, I'm only here because I'm training, otherwise I wouldn't be here.
Thanks for joining us today. Thanks a lot for coming.
Charlie Bolden.
Мне помочь с переводом?
будет, сядь вперед. Молчащие сзади будут стоять.
Those who will not be speaking should stay behind.
Dear guests, dear friends, дорогие друзья, Jocelyn and I have the great pleasure and the great honor to welcome all of you here tonight to Spaso House to celebrate the 50th anniversary of a great historical event, the first flight into space by the Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin. I would also like especially to welcome in our midst tonight the family of Yuri Gagarin, his daughters Yelena and Galina Yuryevna, and the head of Roscosmos, and the head of an amazing team of our friends and colleagues, Anatoly Nikolaevich Perminov. И еще, дорогие космонавты, вместе с нами друзья и коллеги Юрия Гагарина, Валентина Владимировна Терешкова, первая женщина в космосе, а теперь наша первая леди космоса. Леонов просто бесподобный, уникальный, неповторимый наш друг. And also I want to welcome two cosmonauts who were personal friends and colleagues of Yuri Gagarin, Valentina Tereshkova, the first woman in space and now the first lady of space, and of course Alexei Leonov, our incomparable and unbelievably dear friend, Alexei Arkhipyevich Leonov. And I want to welcome also all of the astronauts and cosmonauts who are here tonight from many different countries of the world, but really from one big country, the country of space where there are no borders and where we all speak the same language. And also our friends and colleagues from NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration led by Charlie Bolden, who just flew in from Washington today. And as we know, Charlie is more than just the administrator of NASA. He's also a crewmate on the first joint Russian-American shuttle mission STS-60, together here with his crewmate Sergei Krikalev. Sergei, where are you? Sergei Krikalev. And I also want to mention the presence and the honor that we have to welcome two other American astronauts here who were recently awarded a Russian award, a Russian order by President Medvedev, General Tom Stafford, and Scott Kelly. A lot has been said over this week and over the last 50 years about the 50 years that we're celebrating, and I can't say it any better than Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, who said that Yuri Gagarin invited us all into space. And I want to say to our Russian friends and colleagues, we look at this as an international event. We started an amazing collection of countries working together in space, but we recognize today that this was our Russian colleagues' achievement 50 years ago. And I want to congratulate our Russian friends for all they achieved 50 years ago, and congratulate all of us tonight for what we together will accomplish for the future of man in space. And now it's a great pleasure for me, и теперь для меня большое удовольствие и честь пригласить на сцену.
It's a great pleasure and honor for me to invite Anatoly Nikolaevich Perminov, head of Roscosmos, to the stage. Dear Mike, dear guests.
Сегодня действительно замечательный день. Мы уже, в общем-то, третий день отмечаем в нашей стране полет первого космонавта в мире Юрия Алексеевича Гагарина.
Today is really a great day. Although we have been celebrating for the third day today the flight of our compatriot Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin.
Вчера президент нашей страны Дмитрий Анатольевич Медведев целый день посвятил свой рабочий день мероприятиям, связанным с экипажем Международной космической станции, с ее поздравлением, с вручением государственных наград космонавтам, астронавтам многих стран и специалистам ракетно-космической промышленности.
Yesterday, the president of our country, Dmitry Anatolievich Medvedev, devoted the entire day, the entire working day, his busy schedule, to deal with space-related affairs. Basically, he spent the time in the Mission Control Center with the cosmonauts and astronauts, talked to the crew of the International Space Station. Then he presented the state awards, and there was a ceremony at which he presented awards to the cosmonauts, astronauts, and workers of the space industry, including representatives from some foreign countries.
Затем был прекрасный концерт и прием в Кремле.
Afterwards, there was a wonderful concert and a reception in the Grand Kremlin Palace.
Если не углубляться далеко в историю развития космонавтики, а вспомнить историю взаимоотношений наших стран, Соединенных Штатов Америки и Советского Союза, то она была довольно сложной.
So, without going into details of the history of the relationship between our two countries back in those days of the early space age, we can say that the history of those relationships between the United States and Russia has been quite complicated.
И была действительно холодная война, противостояние жесточайшее.
We really had a Cold War going on, and there was a very severe antagonism between our two countries.
И не потому, что я работаю в ракетно-космической промышленности, и не потому, что мы сейчас ведем огромное количество совместных программ, но я глубоко убежден, что первой ласточкой, первым примером нашего сотрудничества между нашими великими державами это стала совместная работа в космосе.
And I can tell you from my own experience working in the space industry of this country and being involved in many international programs which we are carrying today, that the important part of our today's cooperation, which was the very beginning of this cooperation, is the biggest program for today, the International Space Station.
Полет Юрия Алексеевича Гагарина показал всему миру, что Советский Союз – это высокая технологическая держава.
And the flight of Yuri Gagarin showed to the entire world that the Soviet Union at that time was a very strong space stronghold.
После этого было много проектов, но следующим основополагающим проектом, конечно, это был совместный проект «Союз-Аполлон».
There have been many other projects, but the major milestone in our joint history was the Soyuz-Apollo project.
Я не буду о нем рассказывать, потому что здесь находятся участники этого проекта.
I don't want to go into details on that project because here we have today the representatives and participants of that project.
Алексей Леонов. Не хочу комментировать этот проект. Я только скажу, что с точки зрения политической, после этого у нас была уже не конфронтация, не соревнование между нашими странами, а общая совместная работа по различным направлениям.
I don't want to go into details about the project itself, but I can tell you that after that project, we no longer had any confrontation or antagonism. We have been involved in many other projects which we have for today.
И сейчас мы прекрасно работаем по Международной космической станции. Множество стран, это и Соединенные Штаты Америки, и Россия, и Канада, и Япония, и 17 европейских государств. Все это говорит о том, что перед нами очень широкие горизонты по всем направлениям взаимодействия нашей космической деятельности.
Today we have a wonderful cooperation in the format of the International Space Station, which involves a number of countries the United States, Russia, Canada, Japan, 17 European countries, and this is an example of what we will be doing, and there are big horizons for our cooperation in the future and many more wonderful projects to come.
Но начало всему положил первый полет человека Юрий Гагарин.
However, Yuri Gagarin, the first human in space, started it all.
И я напомню, что решение Организации Объединенных Наций с этого года, этот день, 12 апреля, стал Всемирным днем полета первого человека в космос.
So now today, 12th of April, starting from this year, by the decision of the United Nations Assembly, will be named the International Day of the first human spacewalk.
Я поздравляю всех с этим праздником.
And I would like to congratulate everyone on this celebration, on this holiday.
The Administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Charlie Bolden.
And Elena and Galina, it's, I know you all hear this a lot, but what your father did is the legacy of what he did is displayed during this week. And hopefully it means as much to you as it does to all of us who have had an opportunity to follow in his footsteps. I want to express my gratitude to you, Ambassador Beyrle, and your lovely wife for hosting us with 500 of your closest friends tonight. And I want to thank and congratulate my dear friend, the head of Roscosmos, Mr. Permanov, as well as thank all of the NASA participants, but especially our Russian partners who are here celebrating with us this evening. For both our nations, this is a very special time. This week we celebrate the 50th anniversary of human spaceflight and the 50th anniversary of a young man, Yuri Gagarin, venturing off to do something that had never been done before, not having any idea of what would be the outcome. And 20 years later, on the same day, coincidentally, the United States did not pick the 12th of April to be the launch date of STS-1. We were originally supposed to launch 2 days earlier, but we had a computer failure. So this week we also celebrate the 30th anniversary of the launch of STS-1. And on this very day, which should be special to many of you, this is the 50th anniversary of the day that Yuri Gagarin came back triumphantly and was paraded through Red Square as a national hero. But it is also the 30th anniversary of the landing of the space shuttle Columbia on the lake bed at Edwards Air Force Base. Many important events have followed the launch of Yuri Gagarin, probably none more so important than the flight of Apollo-Soyuz with Tom Stafford, General Leonov, and their crews. That actually cemented the partnership that we enjoy today. And Apollo-Soyuz was followed many years later by a flight that is very special to two of us in the room. Sergei Konstantinovich Krikalev, my crew member on STS-60, a young man from whom I learned much. I still consider him a mentor, but most importantly, I consider him a dear friend, and our families became friends over the 2 years that we trained and flew. So Elena and Galina, because of the boldness, if you will, and the bravery of your father, we are all able to celebrate today an amazing technological feat in the form of the International Space Station, put together by 15 nations, and it would have never happened had it not been for the first step taken by your dad. So we all join you in celebrating tonight, and I thank all of you for coming out to be with us.
And now the last word goes to our astronauts and cosmonauts on the International Space Station. Thank you very much.
The crew of Expedition 27 to the International Space Station is happy to greet you. My name is Dmitry Kondratiev. I'm the commander of this crew. Together with me, there are Katie Coleman and Paula Naspoli, flight engineers. Today, we are celebrating our cooperation in space and the anniversary of Yuri Gagarin's flight.
To this evening's hosts, Ambassador John Beyrle and NASA Administrator Charles Bolden, with an additional welcome to the head of Roscosmos, Anatoly Permanov. 50 years after Yuri Gagarin took humankind's first steps off of our planet, Cooperation between the US and Russia, along with the other international partners, has allowed us to reach amazing heights in our exploration of space.
The courage and determination of pioneers like Yuri Gagarin paved the way for those of us who can now call the International Space Station home.
Today we're celebrating the momentous achievement of Yuri Gagarin. Those who were lucky enough to go into space and to work on board of the International Space Station, I'm especially grateful to him and celebrate this achievement and our ongoing cooperation between our two countries.
Dear friends and colleagues, this is far from the end of tonight's celebration. Please stay with us. Еще раз вам спасибо большое, and thank you all for coming.
Нет, я понимаю,
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, did not meet you earlier. Thank you very much. And